Hi, I'm Meg.
And I'm David.
Welcome to The Average Vegans, a podcast to help you live an attainable vegan lifestyle. We're not the ripped influencer vegans you hear about in other podcasts. We're just some ordinary people living in the South, eating plants and loving animals.
And on this episode, we're discussing our vegan unpopular opinions or unpopular vegan opinions. Depends on the order you want to go in, honestly. You know.
Such a dork.
I gotta start every episode with something weird. I can't just be like all normal.
I love it. Always got to come in goofy.
That's it, man. That's my goofy.
Oh no. What was the voice that you told me you could do the other day?
Kermit the Frog?
Yes. Now you have to do it for
Do
everyone.
the I could try doing the Rainbow Connection.
Okay.
That's a common one. Why are there so many songs about rainbows? What's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, merely illusions. Rainbows have nothing to hide. Right.
If I close my eyes, it's Kermit. I'm like so impressed.
Hey, yo, Kermit the Frog here. I could do like some other Frank Oz voices. Not that great yet. I need to practice them. But yeah, I don't know. I figured out Kermit the Frog. I was when I had a motorcycle, which technically I still own one, but it's in pieces.
Such a segue from Kermit to motorcycle. I'm so confused.
I was riding my motorcycle and I was bored because I didn't have any way to listen to music at the time. I was just like singing songs, making voices to myself so I could like entertain myself. And I did Kermit the Frog and went, I'm gonna Kermit the Frog. So then I would just ride my motorcycle through Kermit the Frog. I was singing like metal songs with the Kermit and just say like terrible things.
Okay, that's
like,
pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I like that idea.
I'm not gonna record that for everybody, but I'll do like I'll do Green Day's Kermit one day for you.
I would cry. So
anyway.
This is what brought this on. Now I know why we were talking about Kermit, because I'm sitting here while you're talking going, why were we talking about this the other day? And it's because we were talking about the Masked Singer and how the first unmasked costume was a snail. And the whole time I was like, what the crap is in this snail? Because it's so low to the ground. And up pops Kermit. But I'm like, wait, there's still a man in there. Though, and I need to know what it looks like.
It doesn't count. Like if it's Kermit the Frog inside, it's like a mask inside a mask, or it's not.
Yeah, because yes. Yeah. Like weird. I can't do any voices, so sorry guys, you don't get to hear me try to do, and I can't do accents. I mean, I can make fun of a southern one, but that'll just get everybody mad at me. So let's not do that.
No. We do not need those emails. Well, we do need emails, so feel free to contact at theaveragevegans@gmail.com.
Totally off tangent again, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Everyone who listens know I pull us off topic constantly. It's probably bad podcasting. I almost said bad radio, but I do it, and it's fun, and I think it's funny to make stupid jokes and completely change the subject because we're supposed to be talking about our unpopular vegan opinions.
That's right. Things that not everyone's going to agree with, and that's okay.
Time to get canceled.
We don't have to all agree. Just have to be nice, I guess.
Nice. We're going. We don't need nice.
We're not nice. Oh.
All right. You wanna kick us off with your first one?
Sure. All right. It doesn't matter why you go vegan, just do it. And this will make some people mad because to some, it only matters if you go vegan for animals. It doesn't matter as much if you go for health reasons. I personally don't give a crap what your reason is, because I know the longer you're vegan, it'll come back to animals no matter what. You'll get there eventually, even if you start with health. that if that's your reason, you will get to animals. And I am a prime example because I went vegan for health reasons and I stayed vegan for animals. So I don't care why you do it, just do it.
I mean, I went vegan because it didn't make sense from a scientific standpoint, from biology and science. It didn't make sense. I was like, this is look at how we evolved and how our gut bacteria and our length of our intestines and our colon. None of it makes sense. So that's why I went.
Right.
And then I would say I came for the science. I stayed for the animals.
Yep.
And I worked for an animal rights group for about 2.5 years. So, but yeah, I didn't come here for the animals. I didn't come for the health.
Right.
I mean, I can still get cake, right? We good? All right, cool. I didn't care. I was like, it doesn't make sense. And I've told the story before how I tried to argue against it, and researching my arguments, I realized I was full of shit.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, okay. That's our teeth. No. Our no. Stomach acid? No. Well, we evolved brains because of meat? No. So all my arguments are trash. I was like, okay, well, it makes no sense logically, so why do it?
Yeah, and I just felt like crap all the time. I just felt physically like exhausted to the point where like I just had literally no energy. And I was like, you might as well try going vegan to see how it helps. And I quickly realized that I was going to stay because of animal rights and the abuse and the horrible slaughterhouses and all the awful things that I was exposed to. Because the longer you're vegan, the more documentaries you're going to watch, the more conversations you're going to have with other vegans. So again, to me, it doesn't matter why you go vegan, just do it. But there are people that are very hell bent that it should be for animals and animals only.
Because, animals don't care. Don't care why. I was like, if you go vegan because you hate plants so much you want to just eat them.
I love when you say that.
You just eat all the plants because you want them to just die in your face. That's fine. Cool. I don't care. If you go vegan just to be a smart ass, I'm like, I don't care.
Right. I don't care. You're saving animals.
Do it,
doesn't
man.
matter to me. Mm-hmm.
Don't care the
reason.
Yeah. So the next one is vegan does not equal healthy. You still have to choose the healthy vegan options and not convenient processed options.
Yes.
That's a very common thing. It's like, going vegan is so much healthier. I was like, okay. It can be.
It can be,
but it doesn't always.
Yes.
So it's like, why am I losing weight on a vegan diet? Because you're always eating vegan cookies and vegan cakes and vegan ice cream. That's why.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, weight loss is calories in, calories out, but also processed foods. And I mean, I try to stick to a whole foods plant-based diet, so I tend to go with the healthier vegan options. I need to lose weight. It's because I ate too much of those healthy options. It's still calories.
And I do like a processed convenient food a little bit more than most vegans do. I'm a little chubbier than most vegans are, and I don't give a crap. But I am still healthier than I would be not eating vegan.
You also cute AF too, I'm saying.
Whoop, whoop. But it's because there is a balance, you're very healthy. I try to have a little bit more of a balance. Mainly it's because I have a family and so much going on in my life that I kind of have to have like a little bit more convenience sometimes. So yeah, veganism does not always equal healthy. Like absolutely not. You can be, a junk food vegan just as easily. And yes, you're saving animals. Absolutely. You are helping, animals survive. You're helping the earth. I mean, processed food, not as much helping the earth, but
that's the thing about it is, it's weight and health are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
It's if you're excessively overweight, you're not healthy, but you can be a good weight and still be unhealthy. That's the whole healthy, the whole skinny fat, right? There was a professor years and years ago who did an experiment where he was like, I'm gonna eat junk food and prove you can eat junk food and lose weight. And he did. He ate like Oreos and Twinkies and just all kinds of crazy stuff, right? Oreos are vegan. But he did this and he lost weight. He lost weight because he was in a calorie deficit.
Mm-hmm.
Now his blood pressure was through the roof, and he was eating too much sodium and too much fat, all kinds of stuff that caused other issues and hormonal issues. I think he was pre-diabetic, all kinds of stuff.
Oh my gosh.
His weight, his weight was well within the range of it for his size and his age. Like I mean, I said I eat a whole food plant based diet. Like this week is like all my food this week is like tofu, red leaf lettuce, onions, bell peppers, avocado, whole wheat wraps, and rice and all kinds. And I have Gardein beefless tips. I make like this little like Asian bowl thing with them.
Oh,
Um,
yummy.
and that's how I eat normally. Like I very rarely eat like
Mm-hmm.
I rarely even eat vegan processed like fake meats, quote fake meats.
Yeah,
And my
you very
BMI,
rarely
my
do.
BMI is considered. I mean, BMI is not the best measure, but my BMI is still overweight.
That is like I want if I could physically beat up the BMI, I would.
Now,
And I know that there are people cheering me on right now with that sentence because
a BMI is trash.
mm,
It is trash.
absolute trash.
Yeah, I think like Arnold Schwarzenegger at his like prime would have been morbidly obese with his BMI.
Mm.
But you know, it's trash. But I mean, as often as I work out, which is like 5 days a week, I do cardio 5 days a week, weights 4 days a week, and how I eat, I should look a lot better than I do. But again, I know it's probably because I'm not counting my calories right. But again, you know, I had a
Mhm.
stressful day today, and yeah, I had 2 cookies and a burrito on the way home. But I had a
Yeah,
stressful day, and
that's why we're the average
that tasty
vegans.
burrito and the 2 cookies made me like, okay, I can make it home. It's a 3-hour drive, and anyway, I can harp on this one all day long.
I know this is a good one. This is a
Yeah,
good one.
that's a very good one.
All right, what's the next one you want to do?
Next one is number 3.
With that being said, after all we just spilled out, um, again, we don't care if you only eat junk food as long as it's all vegan. Now, if you're like sneaking in some unvegan food in there with your junk food,
That's not vegan.
that's not vegan.
I was hoping that's
Don't
where you were
use
going.
that
That's where I was
term.
going.
Don't use that term.
Use that term.
That's not fair. But like I guess this kind of goes with number two because we kind of said it as we were talking about it. But it's like you can eat all the junk food you want. I really don't give a crap. I
Yeah.
don't care because again, I don't care why you went vegan. I don't care why you stay vegan. I don't care what you eat as long as you're not hurting any animals. You
Well,
know,
yeah.
that's literally the whole freaking purpose.
And to me, this is an unpopular opinion because I feel like most vegans that I've talked to feel like if you're not eating whole food, plant based, the healthiest food you can, it's kind of going against it. You're at the end, I guess, the antithesis of veganism because even though you're not eating animals, you're portraying an unhealthy lifestyle in in that context. And we're supposed to be trained. And that's also why the average vegans, because vegans always seem to portray this like ultra fit, ultra healthy. You know,
Yeah.
all I eat is like salads and tofu and just lift weights and I'm jacked and I run 20 miles a day. Like, no, man, I got work to do and I had to like drive 6 hours a day for
Right.
stupid reasons I don't want to get into. But you know,
Yes.
and that's it. I ate a burrito. Again, it was like beans and texture fit, and it was whole food, plant based. But you know, I also had 2 cookies, which wasn't the healthiest because I'm sure they had like coconut oil in them. Which isn't, that's I'm adding number 16, by the way. I'm adding I just thought of one. I'm gonna add. Well,
You did. Yep.
just
I
thought
can
of one.
see it in your brain go, oh crap.
I'm adding one just popped in my head.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's not popular because most vegans, if you're not following like a strictly healthy plant-based diet, you're kind of defeating the purpose, and the purpose is to reduce and avoid animal suffering where applicable.
Right.
So in that context, if you're eating all Oreos, yeah, you're probably not presenting the healthiest way a vegan could eat, but still you're not eating animals. So by definition, you're fine. But
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
some people who would argue that point, though.
Yeah. All right.
Number,
Vegans. Okay, this is one of my favorite. Vegans should also care about the environment enough to do things like limiting purchases of fast fashion, using cloth reusable bags at the grocery store, things to help the environment improve, you know, even in the slightest bit. I personally think that should be just as important, should be like a part of veganism, because here we are trying to make, you know, the world a better place for animals, but that includes their environment.
right.
You know, like you're fucking up their environment by, you know, buying fast fashion, which is like the number one contributor to pollution in this world. Like, you don't think that's contributing to the harm of animals? It is. Sorry.
No,
Just
make a great point because, like, as you know, I'm about to like in a few months. I mean, we can get into why if you really want to. I don't think we need to. But I'm
no,
about a
we
few
don't
months.
know.
Okay. Friends know. Um, but I'm
Oh
about to have to
crap.
like buy a bunch of new stuff and replenish things in the house and whatever. Some things I have to buy new because one, I'm going to have them for a very long time, and if they're
Right.
new, they're going to last longer. Like furniture and stuff like that. But there are certain
Mm-hmm.
things I'm buying that even if it's new, I'm trying to find the best option for.
Right.
So like I need straws in the house because I have a mustache and drinking things out of straw gets all mustache and gets a mess, and then I'm using paper towels, which is its own wasteful issue.
Right.
So I use straws like in my smoothies and whatever. Not my coffee because that'd be weird. Uh, but so now I'm like, okay, what is the best option? There's glass straws, there's metal straws, plastic obviously not good, but there's also bamboo straws and there's paper straws. Um, you like paper straws?
Paper straws are so
They're weird. And
gross.
there's straws made out of corn.
There are, yes.
Yeah, and I made a mistake of mixing something hot with one of those and didn't realize it was made of corn. It just mushed into it. I was like, that was cool. Apparently, you can't put these in hot tea.
Literally melted your
Yeah,
straw.
it was actually funny. I was like, it was literally went. Like, all right, but and so I'm doing that. Like, and then it brings in this whole other thing in my head of like, trying to be, the idea is like you can't be an environmentalist unless you're vegan because if you're eating animals by
Right.
definition, you're actually causing harm to the environment. So it's again the antithesis of being environmentalist. So I'm like, okay, but what's the better material for products? Because people are like, well, glass. Okay, well, what process is used for glass that has a carbon footprint
Right.
to be made, to be used, and to break down? Because I know glass actually takes longer to break down than plastic does.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so is plastic better? But no, it's not. And I
Right.
found it's not. It's how it breaks down to microplastics, gets into the oceans and water supply. It's its own problem. And then like, well, what about wooden straws or wooden things? Like, okay, but you had to kill a tree. What if it's recycled? But then the tree died, and I get this really weird back and forth with myself because I'm ADHD type
Don't
A.
go crazy like David,
Right.
okay?
I
Calm
think
down.
I think I've settled on bamboo straws though. Just so you know, I think I'm settled on that.
Oh, is that what you're going
I
with?
think so. I like the aesthetic of it.
I could
Because
never
they'll
do a
break
glass
down better.
straw because I would break it.
Yes.
I would break it. Like there's no doubt about it. So it'd be like wasteful because then I'd just be throwing that away. So there's my 2 cents.
Right, and that doesn't bother me as too much. I'm clumsy, and I probably would too. But my thing is like something like a bamboo straw. I'm like, you'll use it until it just doesn't work anymore. Like it just falls apart, or I lose it.
Oh,
But I feel like it would do better if I had to throw it away because it broke. It's bamboo. It would basically just get eaten by microorganisms, be gone, and turn dust in the
right.
wind. Um,
See, and thinking about things like that, I think is really important.
yes.
And I don't think veganism stops at just what you're eating. It really does continue with how can you make the environment better also for animals, for yourself, to keep the freaking earth going long past our time.
Well, see,
So I think about those things. That's why I thrift as much as I possibly can for clothes. I try not to buy anything new that I can't. And that is with a teenage daughter in my house. I mean, come on, give
right,
me some,
you
that's
you
some
got her
credit
into it
right
though.
there. She loves Goodwill. What's
Yeah.
up?
I I I think that's interesting too because a lot of people go like, "Oh, I'm vegan now." I'm like, "I'm vegan now, and I only eat plants." And then when you do, and you'll see that in vegan groups where you have to like step in and go, "Okay, are you plant based or are you vegan?" Because plant based is
Hmm.
what you eat. Vegan is an entire lifestyle of like what you buy, where you buy from, who you buy from, what's in the products that you buy.
Hmm.
Eating all plants is great, but if you're like still buying leather, you're buying makeup with with shells in it and crushed up
Yeah,
bugs in it.
going to zoos and things
Right,
like
it's
that, like
completely
what you put your
different.
money towards. Yeah, like that
Right.
is a big part of it.
Right, and
So
that's I got into debates with people like, hey, let's go to the zoo. I'm like, I don't go to the zoo. Let's go to the aquarium. I don't go to the aquarium.
no.
I don't do it. Now you can go to farm sanctuary. Let's saddle up and ride. Let's go. I mean that not in a literal sense.
No.
Uh, I've been saying that since I was very young. Saddle up and ride. I don't know. It's just
See, listen, I feel like I'm being haunted by horses because I saw some over the
is you
weekend.
really?
So I went hiking with my husband,
Yeah.
and it's a horse trail,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like probably only had like a fourth of the way left, and here comes these two horses and these two pretty ladies on the horses, and I'm like, oh, poor babies. but I'm also terrified of horses.
Oh, I'm gonna use that against you.
Rosie and Katie, I'm so sorry. Don't even try me. Don't come at me. Don't try to trick me. Not gonna happen.
Oh yeah,
so
I'm buying you birthday stuff with all horses.
so I stood like away. Okay. My husband, because I mean, obviously these are big horses, so the people had masks on and so did we. So like my husband goes right up to one of the horses. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's an animal whisperer. He just loves like the scariest of animals. He went right up to this horse. This horse is loving on him, like rubbing his giant freaking face on him. I'm like, what's happening? So then they asked my husband to take a photo. And well, they asked both of us, and I was like, you can do it.
Yes.
So he's giving them all their attention, but those horses keep looking at me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid of you. I'm over here. And the ladies are like, smart, you should stay over there. And I was like, okay, I'm going to.
Right. Well, it's kind of like
that was not reassuring, ma'am.
it's like if you're not a cat person and you go to somebody's house, they have a cat, that cat will come to you.
Yes.
The same thing
yes.
about dogs. Like any animal you don't like, oh, let's go hang out.
Yeah, they were just both looked at me like, why are you coming to pet us? And I'm like, oh, that's not happening, guys.
To make your situation a bit worse, my dad was in the hospital. I was real little years ago. He got electrocuted. That's a whole other story.
Wow.
Yeah. And
David drops bombs.
Right? Yeah, he was doing something stupid and got electrocuted. It's usually you don't get electrocuted by doing something smart typically.
Nope.
So he was something stupid, got electrocuted, was in the hospital. And my mom said when she was there visiting him, there was a woman in there who her horse bit her finger off.
Oh.
She was feeding him like carrots or apples, and then the horse, like, her finger was in the way and got snapped off.
I never even thought about that way of injuring myself with
Yeah,
a horse.
there you go. Add that to your thing. Yeah, and of course I don't advocate for. I don't think you should ride horses. or anything.
No, you should not.
I'm not up for riding horses.
The reason I'm scared is because I feel like I've told the story before in the podcast, but maybe not. I was 7, went to the park. They had these horse riding things. My mom paid for it, which was unheard of in her world to pay for anything. And so I'm like 7 in a bathing suit. I get on this horse. I'm ready to go. And it runs off from the trainer almost immediately. Mm-hmm. And it's like one of those dogs that's like you let the owner get close and then it's like psych and runs off.
Yeah.
Like it would tease the owner, like, oh,
that's Kodak.
For like 20-25 minutes, I'm this little girl holding on for dear life. And this horse is like, nah, you're not going to catch me. No. I've been scarred ever since.
That's
I'm like,
fair.
that thing could have killed me. I was like this big. Okay.
Very small.
Like, no.
You were a zygote at the time, apparently.
Okay.
All right, I'll let you do the next one because I want to do number 6.
Okay. It's our job as vegans to spread the benefits of veganism. I feel like people would definitely fight me on that, but I really think like who else is gonna do it?
Right. That's
like,
the idea of being voice of the voiceless.
Like, yeah, like who else? Because some people want to avoid sounding like an annoying vegan. That's what's the stupidest saying you always hear. How do you know someone's vegan? Don't worry, they'll tell you. I hate it, but sometimes it's true. And people don't want to be that annoying person, but who the hell else is going to spread this to the world but us?
I like doing it in kind of like a drive-by stealth drive-by way. Like someone's like, oh, you need to have dairy to like strong bones. I was like, well, technically not true. Actually, dairy has shown to actually deplete your bone density and cause issues that way. So anyway, we're gonna go over and just say something just like boop, or like or someone's like, well,
drop that knowledge bomb and keep going.
Or they're just like, well, cows produce milk. We have to milk them. Cows are mammals. They don't produce milk when they're pregnant. We force them to be pregnant by artificial inseminating them, and then we take their babies, and then just walk away and like let them go. I've seen the light go out in someone's eyes by telling them that. They're like, what? Because they don't think about it because they've been just kind of indoctrinated and told cows always produce milk. You have to milk them, make them so they'll explode or whatever.
I really think dairy is what freaks people out the most.
Yeah.
I think that's what really scares people the most, because not scares, but like, gets them to go, what?
Wait a
Because
minute,
they're like, yes, I know, to eat the cow, to make a hamburger, I have to kill the cow. But then when you're like, tell them what goes into dairy, they're like, what?
Yeah. And when you're like, especially,
that's intense.
it really gets, and I understand this, and I'm not trying, I hope this doesn't sound sexist. You can call me on if it does. It really hits women when you tell them that more than anything else, especially because it involves like mothers and and being another mammal, because we're mammals, being forcibly impregnated and taking their baby. It tends to like hit them a lot more, especially if they have children. Makes them go, okay, wait, no, the baby stays with them. No, because the baby stays with them, they drink the milk, and that's product.
Yeah.
But again, I just like dropping like the little bombs and just like watching the light just go out in their eyes and like, oh my God, like you just told them Santa Claus isn't real. By the way, earmuffs if you have kids listening. By the way,
kids, you're gonna have to cut that out. You're gonna be a big beep right there.
Dude, I have explicit mark. You play something, I'm
that's
saying,
true. That's true. But also, I feel like you also can spread it in the way that you did with me. So sharing delicious food,
right?
Just sharing the kinds of same meals that you made as a kid, your same favorite meals can be made vegan. That like little bit of knowledge right there is really powerful. And I think like if we don't talk about that, it seems so hard and foreign to anyone who hasn't ever tried going vegan. It seems like, oh my God, that sounds like the hardest thing in the world. So it's our job, I feel, as vegans, to be like, no, it's not really that hard. Let us tell you how you can do it. That's why we did this podcast, is because it's our job to spread the benefits, to let people know. And I think that's really important. And I know some vegans just want to be quiet and not annoy people, but you don't have to be annoying. You can be stealth like David and just, heat up delicious food and offer bites.
What's that?
Well,
yeah,
I don't know how you do that stuff now.
Right.
How do you share food now?
You share recipes online through Facebook, Instagram. You share recipes and let it sit. Let marinate.
There you go.
It's sitting in the shadows does no good for the community or the animals themselves. That is, if you feel like being an activist and going out and doing undercover videos of factory farms and standing on street corners and like the circle with the movies, there's nothing wrong with that. We need people doing that. And if that's something you can do, but part of it is you're in the grocery store and someone's trying to choose between a plant-based option, non-plant-based option. Say, hey, why don't you go and just kind of saying something like, why don't you do that option? This is a better because there's no cholesterol. As hard as you run in your family. Well, that's great. Well, there's no cholesterol in this one. It's probably your better option. It's got to taste like vanilla. You can't be vanilla. Just doing those little things. If you don't feel comfortable going like full on activist, that's its own type of activism in itself.
I did that in Costco just over the weekend, because there was a woman looking at bread, and she had just looked at a bread that said honey on it, so I knew it wasn't vegan. And then she picked up they have Dave's Killer Bread.
Dave's is so good. Low price,
and
it's
two loaf at Costco, and it's like super, like way affordable. So she picks up that brand, and I see her and I'm like, ooh, one, I want the bread. Two, now I can talk to her about the bread, because I want her to pick this one over that one.
Right.
So like I talked to her about it a little bit, but also like I don't want to be like, near people, trying to stay away from people. So like I gave my knowledge, and then I was like, I'm gonna go now. Right. So what you do is what you do. But it was like, oh, there's an opportunity for me to interject and maybe sway her away from that non-vegan bread and towards a brand she may not have tried. So like little things like that, I think that's our job to do. And it just helps, the animals and the environment and all of us in the long run.
Yeah, I agree.
You better.
Moving on to the next one that I wanted to do, because this I gotta be careful. You can't let me rant on this one too long, because I'll go off on this stuff. All right. So vaccines are essential, even if there's animal products in them or there's testing and stuff that involved. This also I include most medications in this one. Oh,
yes.
So First off, neither one of us are anti-vax. If you are, that is your business. I'm not here to argue with you. Vaccines work. I don't argue that point. You want to argue that point? Find someone else. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
You want to
yeah,
send me an
yeah,
email? We'll share it with each other and laugh about it because it's not something I'm doing. So veganism is defined as avoiding and reducing animal pain and suffering where applicable. The most important word in that sentence in this context is applicable, right? So if there's a vaccine that needs to be taken like during a pandemic, if you need a medication to live, or there's a medication, or whether it's a shot or it's a pill or anything like that, then there is no other option for it. I mean, by all means, if you have two pills, one's and a vegan, one has one has a vegan coating, one doesn't, and they're the same, try to go with the vegan option if you can afford it. But if you're sick and dead, you can't help the community and the movement at all anyway. So
And we don't want you to die.
right. So it's where applicable. Applicable that doesn't mean if you're in a restaurant and all they have is steak and they have no vegan options, throw it on a steak. That's not what that means because you can choose not to eat there and get something on the way home. But if you need medication to live or to get better, and you need that medication either has some sort of coating on it that's from an animal or was tested on, like that. And again, this is where people are going to would come at me with saying that phrase.
Right.
You take it, and you're not like going back as part of it. Like I'm going to get vaccinated now. The COVID vaccine, at least the Pfizer one, I know, I'm sure the Moderna, they don't have egg in them. There's no latex and there's no egg, and there's something else they don't have in them that some vaccines do. Also, this is a different type of vaccine, but that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But it's not avoiding things completely when it can actually damage your overall long-term health, the sense of medications.
Yes.
I'm not big on like long-term medications anyway, just for the sake of it. If you can address it through proper diet and exercise, I advocate for that. I don't take headache medication unless I'm done. I'm down and out, and I have to get something done. I'll just lay down and take a nap.
We both are that way.
Yeah.
We try to avoid it as long as we can.
Right.
But
I have family members who take heart medications for cholesterol and all this stuff, and I'm like, if you just eat better and exercise, you wouldn't have to take those. But if you need it, like you have a chronic disease that you need to take some sort of medication for, you have a bacterial infection, you take antibiotics, stuff like that, avoiding them because there's like, oh, it was tested on this, or the pill has some sort of shellac or coating on it. Take your medication, get better, keep being a voice for the voiceless.
This is one thing that I got called out on, which was an odd thing to be called out on. But I posted, this was before COVID. I can't remember what the post was about, but it was something about vaccines. And my aunt, whom I love, if you're listening, Katie, love you. This isn't me being mean. She commented and she was like, "Oh, I thought as a vegan you wouldn't take vaccines or let your kids have them because there's animal products in them." I was like kind of like people to be alive. Right. So like I kind of need them to not die. So yeah, my kids got vaccinated and vaccinated, and I did too, because like I want to live.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. Like I need to live. So yeah, I thought that was a weird thing for people to call me out on, especially when like she had never questioned anything else. I'm like, that's kind of common sense in my world. And so like they're essential, even if there's a little animal products in them. That's something that you just can't avoid. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, the only time you think you avoid them is if you don't need. Like, I don't get the flu shot because
I don't either.
I'm at a healthy age. I exercise. I work out. I'm not really in areas where I would worry about it. If I got it, I'd be fine. Like a 65-year-old, 65, 75-year-old woman probably should be getting it, not me, or a man, or whatever. Whenever I just think of my grandma. So I think of when I talk about older people.
That's kind of cute.
But someone who's older or who has an immune system where it's compromised, they should get that vaccine, not me. But we're in a pandemic, and as soon as I can, I tried to today. Didn't quite work out. But
we're both gonna get vaccinated. Yeah. We're gonna do it.
So, was it tested on animals? Yes, it was.
Mm-hmm.
But am I still gonna get it? Yes, I am.
Absolutely.
Because we're applicable, and I need to get vaccinated to ensure I help get over this with everyone in the community so we can move forward and we can go out to vegan restaurants again.
Oh
Yay!
gosh, I can't wait. The next unpopular opinion relates quite perfectly with the one we just talked about. Um, Vegans can still get sick, and you're still vulnerable to viruses. You're not just like invincible. You don't
Right.
become like superhuman.
It
I
can.
know you think you are, David.
I don't get sick. I had somebody once tell me that even if I get sick, I won't know it because I'm constantly going. I don't slow down enough to recognize when I'm sick. I was told that once.
Hmm.
It makes, and you know me, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that really fits.
Yeah. If I feel like ugh, I'll sit for one day and go, oh, I feel like shit. Okay, I'm good. Let's go.
Yeah. Now, sicknesses are normally much shorter when,
Mm.
like a common cold is normally much shorter for me. I get one like maybe once every year and a half now since I went vegan. So like normally like a cold that like knocks me out, it's quite actually it came up in my time hop and this is so weird, but the last time I was sick was the end of February 2020.
Huh.
And I was super sick, David. The
I think
most sick I've been in years.
I, vi-
And
I vaguely
two
remember that.
weeks later, the whole world shut down.
No.
So I'm always like, I wonder about that.
Did you have
But like,
COVID before
that
you had
was the
COVID?
first time in a long time.
Yeah.
But you can get sick. You don't just become like, you're not Iron Man
Not at
because
all.
you're vegan.
The, the
Jesus.
most the thing about what's interesting is most people you talk to who've been vegan for a while, you'll know like and now this is true for me as well. I don't get sick as often as I used to,
Right.
and if I do, which is again super rare, it's very short time, a day, day and a half. And if I'm like I
Hmm.
got a cold, okay, now I'm better, and I for me, as long as for me, if you're eating a whole food plant based diet primarily, exercising regularly, you have a better immune system. Immune system's it's been supported so well through
Yep.
proper diet. You can withstand things like that. Which is why I'm not talking about like me myself getting COVID that much as I'm giving it to someone that gives it to their grandma. Another grandma's dead because I was a jackass for not being smart.
Yeah, that's how I am too. Like, I'm not worried about myself getting sick.
Yeah,
I'm worried about me getting somebody else sick
right,
that would have a harder time than I would.
precisely.
But again, I can still get sick.
Yeah,
Like, it happens. And I know I have seen some examples during this pandemic where vegans are not taking the virus
oh yeah,
seriously. And I'm like, you could get sick,
you get it.
right? Like
Yeah,
it could suck. It could real suck. And then you could like maybe not even know you have it and give it to someone else. Like just be conscious of your actions because you can get sick. You can make other people sick. Like you're not invincible. I
I've
know it feels like it sometimes.
I know a few people who were vegan for a while and they got cancer.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not. It's. We have a drastic reduction in our chances of a lot of different cancers when you're plant based
Mm,
and vegan. That includes getting sick, also cancers and stuff like that. But you tend to recover faster and it's less likely to occur. Yeah, and they've actually done experiments with like vegan blood and cancer cells, and our vegan blood actually will destroy cancer cells.
so
Um,
cool.
it's really cool. Dr. Greger, I think it was. I think Dr. Greger. He has a video on it, and he actually talked about like they took normal blood with cancer cells and vegan blood cancer cells, and actually the replication of the cancer cells is greatly reduced and actually goes down with vegan blood used. To
That's
show, and it's
crazy.
basically because our immune system and everything is so heavily supported through our typically high antioxidant blood and things like that that we tend to just kind of fare better against those things. Not impossible, but it is possible to get sick and get cancer even if you're on a vegan diet. So be aware
Yes.
of that. No one has ever. No one is. It's like my dad has had like 3 open heart surgeries, these stents. My mom has stents in her heart, and they told the doctor, my dad's heart doctor, like, "Oh, our son's vegan." He's like, "That's great, but that doesn't make him bulletproof." And of course, it doesn't. No one's 0%.
Hmm.
It's about reducing your likelihood of catching a getting sick or having issues.
Right.
You know.
Exactly. Oh,
Okay. Again, I can talk about that type of stuff
I
forever.
know. Those are good ones. The
Um,
next one is a little specific to our area.
yeah.
I'll talk about this one a little
Yeah,
bit. So
this is you. You get up in arms about
this
this one.
this makes me mad.
Yeah.
And I heard like the opposite opinion of my opinion on this, so we'll talk about that too. So I have seen that there are some restaurants that use the word vegan in their name, but they serve non-vegan food. And I find that super jackassery. Is that a word? That's what we're making
Yeah,
it.
it is.
Um, that's just wrong. You can't have the word vegan in your name and then have chicken or fish in your freaking menu. What is wrong with you?
Yeah,
What is
it's
wrong with you? So I've seen the counter argument though, where they were like, "Well, at least they have vegan food to offer," and I'm like, "Yeah, but to who? Because any of us walk in there, look at that menu and see that, we're going to be pissed. And no one who is not vegan is walking in that place.
right.
What are you talking about?
It's like, and I mean, I assume if you're doing that, it's like, let's say, you're not vegan, but your significant other is, and you go there together, you can get something. I maybe it's
Yes.
for that reason, but you're using a word that
Yes.
is, it's not just like a word like boat or whatever. It's actually, it has weight, it has meaning, it
Yes.
means something. And by using vegan in your company name when you're not strictly a vegan company, it cheapens it.
Hmm.
And it kind of hurts the movement,
Yeah.
because it
It's
makes
insulting.
it's insulting. Yes, it makes it where it's not as serious and it's not as hard said as it is. It's almost like saying vegan-ish, or like I'm vegan
Yes.
sometimes. Like, okay, then you're not,
Yes.
because it
Exactly.
means something.
Exactly.
You know,
You're not. So don't do that.
right? It's like
But yes.
it's like saying I'm the LGBTQ ally sometimes.
Yeah.
I try I
Then you're
try I
not.
try to be when I can. No, you either are or you're not.
Then you're
You
not.
don't do. You
Yes.
can't be in or out. You're not. You're not. No one can be a little bit pregnant.
There you go. There
You
you
either
go.
are or you're not. You're just kind of
And
somewhat. It's just you are or you're not. You can't do it that way.
and it's not just one restaurant in the Atlanta, Georgia area. I've seen, I think, two, possibly three different restaurants that are using the word vegan in their name and then having non-vegan items on
Yeah.
their menu. And let me just tell you, we know we're all talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know,
We're
we're
coming for you.
mad.
Yeah.
We got our eyes on you.
Keep an eye.
Yeah. So that was just something kind of specific,
Get it off.
for our
Get that
area.
off your chest.
I hope it's for just our area, not the whole freaking country just stealing our word.
But we're popular, man. They gotta use our word to make business, make money, I guess.
Rude.
So the next one is another one. It's like to me, just like the vaccine stuff, that this catches flack, and again, this would result in some emails and maybe some me getting kicked out of some groups. Um, some people need to take baby steps.
Yep.
Some people it takes them a year to make the full transition. Some people need to go pescatarian and then vegetarian and then plant based and then vegan.
Mm-hmm.
That does not excuse someone who gets to to a certain step and stops. I don't think that's appropriate.
Yeah.
If you're like, oh, I'm a vegetarian, I'm good here. No. That's
No,
not
we're
how this
talking
works.
about like getting all the way fully
All the way fully. If
to
you need-
vegan. Yes.
Right. If you like, you're like, I can't get dairy. I can't have my cheese. I can't get in my cheese. I gotta everything else I can do, but my cheese I gotta keep. And that's like, okay, well then that's great. I understand you're doing way better than you were doing, but
Right.
let me maybe you gotta, if you have someone who's making those steps, like let me help you find a cheese you like, a vegan cheese you like. Maybe we can find one at a certain store or whatever.
Yes.
Because again, I'll tell you right now, all vegan cheese does not taste like real cheese. Although I've had a couple that were Miyoko's, and even the local one we had was really good.
Yes.
Super
Oh my
close. Oh my
gosh.
god, the blue cheese on that was so tasty. But you get really really close, but you're gonna get 1-to-1. Absolutely not. You're not gonna get exact.
No,
But it's finding
no.
the one that kind of scratches that itch, like melts on burgers the way you want, that sort of stuff. But some people need baby steps. Some people can go overnight, and that's great. Good for you. I'm not knocking you. I'm not saying you did it right or wrong. That was your journey. And some people need
Yeah,
that
and I don't
process.
knock people if it takes them a while. I don't knock them if like they start with like a meatless Monday and then slowly start doing that and like get to the point where, they're eating vegetarian and then they get to the point where they're like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can try vegan because this kind of goes back to the one, oh, I can't remember. um, but like you learn the longer you're vegan,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the reason why you went vegan that way. You learn the longer you are in this lifestyle. So say they're taking those baby steps, they're again being exposed to like documentaries and videos and statistics and knowledge and things that are going to slowly get them there. If it
Right.
takes them a while, I don't give a crap.
Nope.
You're harming less animals with every step that you take, and as long as the end goal and the end step is to be vegan, I don't care. You do you. I will help you along the way. I'll give you advice along the way. Maybe we could speed up that process a little
Right.
bit. But whatever it takes is whatever it takes. And I'm okay with it taking a while. But you're right. People get kind of mad where they feel like it's all or nothing,
Right.
like you go full force right now, everything, or, shut up.
Right.
I don't think that, I don't agree with that.
When I worked at MFA, one of the people who worked there, we did a presentation where they basically talked about making these steps, and MFA, which they had issues when I worked there, but that I won't get into because it's not appropriate. But one thing that we did say is that it's okay taking baby steps as long as you're making that progress. And in the presentation, basically we went over like how many one individual is an omnivore, he's a typical diet. Here's how many cows and chickens and pigs and fish and blah 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 get consumed by the individual. And also we talked about like the typical living conditions, and they use some metric to basically gauge suffering essentially. And I'm paraphrasing this massive presentation, and we kind of went through like how people go through a transition of cutting out red meat and like beef and pork and pigs and chickens and stuff like that, and how much that reduces each time you do it. And these steps are actually important because if you try to make someone go overnight and they're like, I can't do this, they're going to go right back to their old ways.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's like, hey, you got to cut it out now. Okay, so I'm eating just tofu and beans. And like, oh my God, I just, every Tuesday we did Taco Tuesday and I just love the turkey tacos, whatever you made. So they were just going to eat them. And it goes against what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But saying, hey, how about Tuesday instead of turkey tacos, we do like black bean tacos, and you're working your way through it, and like you're still eating you're still getting your cow and your chickens and stuff in, but we're doing just this one, and then working them through it, or like I was flexitarian. I ate mostly vegan, but I was like, I want a cookie. I don't care. And then I made my transition for the reasons I said earlier. But yeah, those steps can be vitally important to ensure someone keeps going. It's like,
yes,
if anything you're trying to do, if you just jump headfirst in and you get overwhelmed, you're going to go, nope.
Mm-hmm.
Making those slow movement transitions, like I'm about to do some painting stuff for my wall. If I just started drawing on this thing, I'd be like, okay, I can't get it right, and the paints and the marker, and just I'm gonna go buy some stuff and just hang stuff on the wall. But I have a canvas here. I'm drawing on it first and testing it out, seeing how it works, and that way I know making those steps, I'm gonna be able to do it without being overwhelmed and just dropping the whole thing altogether.
Yeah, it helps you keep that motivation. Sure. It helps you kind of build on those lessons, build on how you can eat in a certain way, like you said, like you're learning how to not eat red meat. Then you learn how to, how can I make meals that don't have pork? How can I make them that don't have chickens in them? Like you just like continue to make those steps and they build on each other. So I'm all for that. My little sister has been vegetarian for a very long time. She's having the hardest time going vegan. And I don't give her crap because I know that is her goal. Like, I know that that's what she wants. And every chance she can, she fights to get to that point. And here I am just encouraging her, giving her more advice, letting her know how she can make that step. But I'm not going to give her crap because I know she's going to make it. I know she will because she has wanted it for so long. I know that if I just help a little bit, again, spreading the benefits of veganism is my job, then she'll make that final step.
And she has a great source in you to make that transition.
That's right.
What?
All right, the next one. Good. Not everyone will be vegan.
Yeah.
You can spill on this one.
Yeah. So my dad is not going to do it. It's not going to do it. It's not going to do it. My dad's favorite thing is to tell me that he's not going to gray smell like tofu and bean sprouts. It's his favorite joke. He says it to me all the time. And my response is always, that's a good point. So what is that? Does that scar on your chest? Does that ever itch? Uh, but not everyone will be. And there's some people who are no. You could show them the best evidence, and it's not going to change their mind. They're gonna ignore it. They're
Mhm.
going to sit in their cognitive dissonance. They're going to say, "Well, cows have to be milked," and actually they were put on this earth for us to eat. They're going to do that. You're not going to change their mind. And sometimes some of those people, you got to just go. You know what? Wash my hands. How was your day? I'm not going to get into it with you because you're
Yeah.
not. Because my thing is, you can waste your time arguing with 100 people that will never change, or you can take your time on 2 people who actually want to make that change, and you're gonna have
Yes.
bad. We're not gonna waste your energy, and you're gonna make more progress. You're gonna have more of an impact on 2 people who will change, or at least make some changes, than 100 people who will make no changes.
I love that. It's wonderfully said. I agree because like I know there are people in my life that will never go vegan. Like I'm thinking of my friend Don. He has been a hunter for as long as I know. He'll never go vegan. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
However, the last time I saw him, he told me how they were eating impossible meat at least once a week.
Nice.
I almost cried. I almost cried.
I believe
I
it.
was
Yeah.
like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, it tastes great." And he's like, "And I don't know that, it doesn't taste any different. I know it's better for me, and I know it's better for the environment." And I'm like, "Am I in the twilight zone right now?" I
Wait, are
was
we?
like, "What is happening?" But like I know he's not going to go vegan. I know it's not going to happen. But that little tiny little thing right
That's all
there,
you can ask
that
for.
made my day. That made my day
Yep.
because there's a little glimmer of hope for at least some kind of change, some animal being saved by even just that. But there are people you do have to just give up on, which
Yep.
is sad.
Step away and go. Okay, you're not going to do it. That's fine.
Yeah.
I could probably my brother Taylor. He's even said like I could probably do vegetarian. I'm like, okay, there's some hope there. I can kind of work with you one day. Maybe we can move forward with something.
Right.
But my parents aren't gonna do it, and that's fine. My mom grew up on a farm, but she still won't do it. She does the whole like they're here for us to eat. That's what they're like. Okay, cool. How's your garden? Because she grows a garden. Like, what are you growing this year? I'm not gonna get into it with her because she's not gonna
Right.
move in that direction. Just there's
And
some people you have to focus on who will make the change.
I think my daughters fit this too because they both like my younger daughter is very much as close to vegetarian as she possibly could be. She doesn't like almost like there I can't think of a meat that she does like. She just is not a fan. So, which is great because there's hope there, like the more vegan stuff I show her, the more she just kind of eats it, right? Um so I think at some point in her life, we can get to the point where she might be vegan. My older daughter, I absolutely think that she would go vegan. The girl would eat tofu raw if I like
Yeah,
had it out. Like since she
not even
was
I will
a
do that.
little girl, she has stolen my tofu. And if now that we have an air fryer, it got even worse. But like I remember picking her up from school and she'd be like, make sure you bring some like like fried up tofu with you, and she'll sit in the car and eat it like a straight up amazing little weirdo that I love. But like I think eventually they could both go vegan. So like I think it could happen right now. No, but
Yeah.
we might get there someday and I'm okay with, like I'll wait until those times when I feel like I could start pressuring them, but like my husband's never going to go fully vegan.
No,
He's just not.
not gonna
He's
do
just
it.
not.
He'll get
So it's
close,
fine.
but not
He's
do it.
pretty damn close for him. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I think it's some people like that. It's just with where you spend your energy, make your impact is the most important. And again, if you spend your energy on 2 people who will make a change versus 100, you're gonna make more of an impact for the long term. And the other because the 100, you're wasting your energy. You could be spending on people who actually will make the change. That's why I don't argue veganism with someone. If they come to me with questions, I want to understand
Yes.
all day long. What you got? I'll answer all your questions. I've been doing this long enough. I can just fire them off. But if you're going like, I don't think veganism is good for you. That's cool. Go read a book. Leave me alone. I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
Because
I
you're looking to
agree.
fight, not to get information, and you're not looking to make a change. You're looking to argue, and I'm not doing that. I'm not about that life.
Right.
Sometimes 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm bored. I'll find something to argue with, but usually not the case.
David can be enticed into a little internet
Yeah,
argument.
because it's fun. Especially if I know I'm right, I just annoy him. I think it's fun. It makes people upset in that context.
Oh, good.
Next one is not everyone can be vegan, and this is oh man, this would get me knocked out of a couple of vegan groups. I put this in the
Yep.
vegan group right now. They'd be like, "You're out." And let me make this clear. I think of other people who would make the change, who qualify as would be vegan in the previous one,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who would be, but I think the people who I forgot how to word this. People make a lot of BS excuses why they can't,
Right.
and they're BS. The
But
vast majority of people absolutely 100% can. You have
okay.
people because of where they live, they cannot. You have
Mm-hmm.
you have the Inuits, people who are Eskimos who live in the tundra. You can't actually. They've evolved larger livers to handle higher amounts of protein because that's pretty much all they eat. Um,
Right.
you have people like that. You have people who have diseases or hormonal issues where they have to consume dairy. They have to consume something that gets out of it they can't get from a plant, or they can't synthesize something that has to come through. And again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm not going to go into what those things are. But there are people who exist on this planet who they can't do it. They can go
Right.
vegetarian, but they can't go any further than that. People have allergies to. They can't eat beans. They can't eat tofu. They can't eat
Yep.
seitan. They can't eat certain all the protein sources we
Yes.
use. They
Mm-hmm.
can't digest them for whatever reason, or they can only digest one of them, which
Right.
means
Mm-hmm.
they'd be deficient in a lot of amino acids. I'm not going to fight with that person.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
if they can go vegetarian and still get the immediate, I would say, hey, about vegetarian, but they can't. That's another conversation. Now, I do think that percentage is extremely low
Yes.
worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
extremely low. But to say everyone on this planet can be vegan, I think that's going a step too far, and that's just basically being an all or nothing, which is not helpful or rational, honestly.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree. I agree with everything you said. And I do have a friend who, um, I can't remember I think it's Hashimoto's, but she can't eat a lot of the things that are essential for a vegan diet. She can't eat beans, there's a lot of vegetables she can't have. So like I don't give her crap, not that I give anyone crap, but like I don't ever pressure her at all. And whenever I am at her house, before COVID ever happened, she would make me vegan food and she would have the same thing. Like she is like at least someone who is flexible enough to try things, but she can't eat beans, she can't eat tofu, she can't eat any of that stuff. So I'm bummed because she's like such a good chef that I want her to come over and like I know you can't have it, but like could you make it for
Did
me?
did
Like can you
didn't
do
she
that for me?
didn't she try it once and had a lot of problems, and that's why she found she couldn't do it or
Yeah,
something?
she tried that in the beginning before she realized what was wrong. But there's just like so many restrictions. Like it's super restrictive what she can eat,
Yeah.
like to the point where she never, ever, ever, ever eats out. She cooks and makes every single meal she eats like every day her entire life. The only time she doesn't is if she like goes on vacation, and even then she brings things with her
Right.
because she gets such an adverse reaction where her entire body like it's inflammation, she's in pain, she's swollen, like it is awful. It's
Mm-hmm.
like debilitating, awful disease. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going to give her crap. Like, hey, go through pain just so like I'm not no,
Right.
she'll kill herself. Like I
Yeah.
can't do that
And
to her. So,
that's the word applicable. I love the word. I just can't ever say it. That's that. It's just it's not applicable. She's nothing she can do, and that's fine. But I think for most people, it's an excuse. It's complete
mhm.
utter bullshit. It's an
Yep.
excuse. You don't want to do it. It takes some effort. You don't want to go down that road. So you're giving me some reasons you can't do it, which is completely. I can't. I'm allergic to soy. Okay. So don't eat soy
There's
then.
other options.
What are you doing? Whatever. So it's most of it's a completely be. I don't like beans. Well, being an adult, I didn't like cucumbers before I went vegan. Now I like them because I knew cucumbers is in
Be an
fucking
adult.
everything. Being an adult, just your taste buds. Try other things.
Hmm.
Grow up a little bit. Anyway,
Yeah. And
ugh,
you'll find you'll like
be surprised.
things that you never liked before. But the next unpopular opinion is not something I particularly like.
Jackfruit.
Not a fan.
Jackfruit is not a meat replacement. Stop using it as like an option for like jackfruit or tofu. It's not. It's a vegetable.
Yeah,
It has
it's
very
vegetable.
little. Maybe it's a fruit. I never looked it up, but I'm gonna say vegetable. It's a fruit. I think it's a fruit. I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
Look
I
it up.
mean,
Let
it
me know.
says it in the name, jackfruit.
Of course, I mean, tomato is a fruit, so I mean, whatever. A peanut is neither a pea nor a nut. So
Okay, I love when you do that. It's an exotic fruit.
okay, so it's a fruit, but it's
Yep.
not. There's very little protein in it. It is not
Right.
a meat substitute. There is a restaurant. I'm gonna call them out. Oh my god, I can't remember the name of them. True Food Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're placed because you basically choose like a bowl and you go, what's your protein? You can choose your protein. And I always get tofu because that's their protein option. They switched it for like a whole season with jackfruit.
And you were like, I know.
I didn't eat there the whole time. Like I gotta, because if you don't have enough if you don't have enough micro and macronutrients, you're gonna get hungry because your body's like, hey, I'm low on something, eat more things.
Yes.
So, and it's like the place is expensive to go to, so I'm not gonna go to this nice expensive place just to eat in 10 minutes because my body just like, you got a lot of carbs, man, that's awesome, but we have no protein in our system. So now I'm in the fridge or like ordering something to Uber Eats so I can have something here to satisfy. So jackfruit is, I'm not a huge fan of it. I can eat it, but like not a bunch of it. If cooked right, I can eat it. Like
Yes.
Rosie made a really good barbecue jackfruit. I really liked that. That was really good.
Yes.
But it's not a
That,
protein
and then I
source.
had barbecue jackfruit at a veg fest one time. That was amazing as like a little slider. Oh my God. But I have never had it since then besides Rosie's, where I actually liked it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think I feel like it's too sweet in some way or something. I don't know. But I think people get excited because they're like, oh, I can replace it with a fruit. Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it
It's
sounds
healthier.
better. I don't know. Maybe I don't
It's-
know what it is. Maybe because it looks like something crazy and you've seen it on TikTok, but it really, come on now. There's no protein. That's
Right. If you want to
no.
include it in a dish, that's great. It's definitely
Yes.
definitely has nutritional value. But don't use it as a protein, as like a vegan meat or a protein source. It is not. Tofu and soy products, tofu, tempeh, beans, nuts, seeds, legumes. Those are your protein sources, not jackfruit. I get
I do
get really
wanna
upset when it's treated like a protein source. I get legitimately irritated, and I will say something every time because it is
and it's
ridiculous.
normally by a place that isn't fully vegan because they would know better.
Right, because they can get it in
Yeah.
a can and use it when they want it. Which again,
Right.
if you like jackfruit, I'm not saying you should never eat it. It's a great, if you like it, it's a great option. A lot of just nutrition in it. But if you're eating it like it's your protein source, like I'm eating jackfruit barbecue sliders, that's great. Where's your protein?
Yeah.
Because you're not getting it. Now, protein's an end all be all. We overhype protein, but we definitely need it. Some people underhype it. And I'm not one of those. I think it needs to be
It's
a good.
important.
It's important. We are mammals. We made of muscle and meat. We need protein in our diet. Amino acids to build and repair muscle tissue. Yeah, it's
Jackfruit is not the way.
it's not a way. It's not a substitute. If you're meal prepping and you're like, I'm gonna do jackfruit tacos all week, don't do that.
It sounds like it's something cool. It's what
trendy, it's great.
you've seen on TV or
Right.
in videos. Like you've seen the jackfruit. That doesn't mean that is the best option. Like you've got to go back to the basics.
Yep.
Tofu, tempeh,
Exactly.
seitan. You can do it.
It's fun to have, but don't make it your primary protein source for the meal.
Yes, for sure.
The next one is this actually bothers me too. Is we need to stop comparing things like broccoli to steak on 1-to-1. The proportions are not the same. So I see this, and it's actually a common one of like there's X number of protein in 100 grams of steak, and there's 110 grams of protein in 100 grams of broccoli. That's a lot of broccoli.
There's a lot of broccoli.
Okay, there is a lot of protein in steak. We need to stop saying that like there's more protein in broccoli. Now, per weight, yes, obviously, because you have the same weight and you have 100 grams of steak and 100 grams of broccoli, you're going to have more protein in that. Yes, but you have to have so much more of something to equal it, and you can't eat that much.
No,
Like, what is? I'm gonna look it up.
your
now
tummy's
live.
going to be upset.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not gonna work
Your
out.
tummy's going to be like, why? Why so much broccoli? I see a lot of these memes on Instagram and like comparing that, you can get so much, protein and normal things, which is very true. But sometimes, you do have to eat a bigger portion.
Yeah,
What did you find?
it's not giving me a good answer. It's kind of a pain in the butt to look up.
Well,
It's one of
I
those.
was
It gives me an answer, but it's like worded weird. I can't really parse it just standing here, sitting and talking to people. But the whole thing is that my biggest thing is we compare the protein in a vegetable directly to a meat example, and you can't do that because steak and chicken and fish, that's all it is a big blob of protein, and that's not really the point. The point and when you're talking about vegan protein is, regardless of the source, is the quality of it. To get a little like scientific, the closer a protein source is to the human body, right? So you have like fish, you have pork. I hate saying pork because it just totally.
I know it's pig. I
it
know,
takes it
but my
away.
brain just automatically does that.
It's how we were raised, but you know, whether
Yeah.
it's a cow, a pig, a chicken, or anything like that, right? The closer it is to the human body, it's going to release IGF-1 growth hormones, right? So it's actually insulin growth hormone. Okay, the insulin growth hormone, basically what it does, it tells your body to like multiply cells, it tells cells to multiply, which is cancer. That's why animal products, which again, that phrase bothers me because animals aren't products. That's why they're linked massively to cancer, because those types of proteins, when they break down, amino acids break down, it releases IGF-1, and that is actually what helps and aids in cancer growth. Okay? Plant-based proteins, whether it be seitan, soy, tofu, tempeh, beans, whatever, they actually have amino acid building blocks as well. But those types of amino acid building blocks are different. They're basically different shapes, essentially, right? For lack of a better wording, and for the sake of time, because we don't have 4 hours for podcast. But those don't release IGF-1, and in some cases reduce IGF-1, which is also why vegans tend to have a lower case of cancers, because we don't release IGF-1. We also reduce IGF-1 with those amino acids. They still build muscle the same. They still have the exact same properties as far as muscle repair and building, which is why you can have vegan bodybuilders who, as long as you eat the protein you need, amino acids, you're going to get jacked. It's perfectly fine. But you don't have the IGF-1s, means you have a lower cancer risk. Okay, so that's when we talk about vegan proteins. We're like, you want to talk about, like, you can just as much as broccoli as you can from steak. That doesn't make any sense. The amino acid it does not compare. The amount needed to eat to get to that level does not compare. You can't do it. We need to quit doing that. We need to talk about, you can get the same amount of protein you can from eating a vegan diet as you can in an animal-based diet. And you can get the same amino acids. You don't need the food combined. You don't need brown rice and beans to get your amino acids. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
I, on average, eat 140 grams of protein a day, which is honestly more than what I need. Right? That's a whole other conversation about how much protein you actually need. Right? But I get that. And all I eat is like tofu, beans, legumes, brown rice, avocado, which is actually a decent source of protein, like 3 grams of protein per serving, I think. So, and I have my protein powders in the morning and after workout, because I don't like a heavy meal in the morning. I don't like heavy breakfast like oats. It makes my stomach hurt if I like that in the morning.
Me too.
So I have to have a smoothie. Yeah, it's just prefer it, right? If I could, I would do just straight up oats and stuff and peanut butter and stuff in the morning. I just can't do it. And after I lift weights, I have a protein shake like everyone does. But other than that, it's beans, tofu, nuts, seeds, whatever, right? But again, my main thing is stop treating like you can get all the same amount of protein from broccoli as you can from steak. The amino acids are different. The actual profiles are different. The amounts in each are different. It doesn't work. It's not a good one-to-one comparison. We need to talk about, you can get all your protein you need from plant sources, and amino acids are there. You don't need the steak because you get everything from something else.
Right. And I think the amount is like the big push, the big difference that'll make people go, oh, well, you can't really compare them. Like it's not even like double. It's like sometimes triple the amount, like I can't eat that much broccoli, I'm not about it. It's not going to happen. Oh, I can't. But I understand that one. You get fired up about it. I like it.
Yeah, was it to get 20 grams of protein, you have to eat 500 grams of broccoli.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My tummy would hurt so bad.
Yeah, it's just a bad argument. I mean, yes, you can get all your protein from broccoli. If you ate just broccoli, you would be a lot of fiber.
Yeah.
Broccoli has issues anyway because you can't digest it raw. It's too fibrous. You have to cook it to break down the cell walls to start that process. Again, I can go all on about how our brain evolved from plants and stuff.
Someday
So
we'll do a whole episode on
avoid
protein
that,
and let David go crazy.
avoid that thing.
I'll just sit back and be quiet and be like,
You want you want to do the next one so I can get off this topic without driving people crazy?
Yes. All right. It is okay to have non-vegan pets. So we just did an episode on pets and veganism. I think it was number 22, 23, something like that.
22. Yeah.
So that would include cats, is what I'm assuming is part of this list of non-vegan pets. Yeah, I totally okay to have non-vegan pets. You know, it's not just like not every human can be vegan. Not every animal can be vegan, and it's totally they need love too.
Right? It's our fault they exist.
I mean, what? You're just gonna leave them there and not love them? Oh, that's sad.
Well, even if you have a dog you choose not to raise on had to raise on a vegan diet, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can't talk to your dog like, hey man, we have morals in this house and this is how you eat it. You can't talk to them. Now Benny's vegetarian because I tried vegan diets, but he would not do it. He's like, I'm not eating this. I'm like, well, we have to go to the vet, and I'm gonna get in trouble for my dog being emaciated because I'm trying to feed him carrots. So I fed him more than that. I just had a lot of food he wouldn't eat. So he's vegetarian.
Now the non-vegan pets, I do draw the line, and I'll make this my own unpopular opinion if you want. I do draw the line at like having a snake and feeding it a mouse. I draw the line. You don't need to have a snake. That's unnecessary. Leave the poor damn snake outside. You're gonna go buy a mouse and give it to him? Are you?
That bothers me. That just bothers me. It's like, Miss Mouse is hanging out. I'm gonna go to new home, have a wheel to run in. It's gonna be nice. Oh, what's this large thing in the cage with me? Munch? Like, oh my god.
Oh, listen. I was 16, just dating this guy, and he fucking had snakes in a tank right as his like headboard. Like his headboard was just a tank with some snakes.
Holy
I know.
crap.
Bad taste. I don't know what's happening.
Here's my flag. I'm waving a flag. It's red, in case you didn't know.
So red.
And I'm the master of red flags now. Trust me.
Yes, you are. But yes, I was there one time when he fed the poor snake. So like I can't imagine a vegan owning a snake and like giving it a mouse. But like, I mean, that's rare.
I like snakes. Ugh. Like they don't bother me. Spiders, hell no. But snake, cool snake. I was like, and that's why I looked up. I was like, is there a snake that only eats plants? So I can have a snake, and there's not.
See,
there's not a vegan snake.
Snakes creep me out.
Yeah, I
don't want to hurt them, of course. I just want them to stay as far away from me as humanly possible.
Exactly.
Do I have snake or like a border around me that just says,
I'm like that with spiders.
Bitch. See, I'm not a big fan of spiders either. Like neither one of them are like anything I want to cuddle with. But like, I guess what do you feed spiders? What do spiders eat?
Bugs.
Oh, see, I guess unless you can they eat dead bugs?
I don't know. I think so. I don't know. I haven't looked
because I guess
diets.
you could have a spider if you gave them like dead bugs, but that would be kind of unvegan too.
How did you get the dead bugs? Anyway. But
yes,
back to it.
We're weird.
We get way off on the end as we haven't noticed yet in our 25 episodes or so. But yeah, so if you have a pet that even if it can be survive on a vegan diet and you choose not to, we have a different way of thinking. This is our morals, not theirs. They don't understand why we're going that direction. If Benny had poor health on his diet, his vet was like, "Look, this isn't working for him. It's noble, but he's having problems." I would switch him. I would switch him to an animal diet, which it would hurt my feelings, but I have cats that aren't, so
right.
But, I would do that for his health. But because I recognize I'm pushing my moral on him because he and I can't have a conversation.
Yeah, and that's definitely an unpopular opinion around a lot of vegans. So I mean, and you can go into like how we feel more in depth about this subject in our previous episode. We talk about it like a lot more in depth. We also talk about our cute little pets, so you should check them out on Instagram as well. Very popular post because they're adorable.
Is Benny and Lucy?
Yes, I made him number 1 because I was like, oh, they're gonna love it.
And Lucy is absolutely gorgeous.
He's so cute.
Uh, so the
Oh.
next one, I'm adding a 16th one, but I'll
Oh,
do the
yes, yes, yes. Okay, so the
uh,
next one is veganism isn't always cheap.
yeah, that's
And I absolutely agree with this. Absolutely.
the
Absolutely agree with it. And that really plays into the processed
yeah.
portion, processed products of the vegan variety. So like you can't tell me that you can get vegan cheese at the same price that you can get dairy
No, you
cheese
can't.
because you can't. You can't. I at some point in time maybe we'll get there, but at the moment that's not possible. You're going to spend more money on cheese. You're going to spend more money on like processed things. So like vegan burgers, yes, you can buy them like in a bulk, but it is going to be more money. I have seen Beyond Meat when it first came out was like nine, almost ten
Yeah,
dollars, and it's down to like $5, $6 now. So like it's getting there.
it gets there.
Um, but there are definitely ways that you can go a little crazy with all the vegan options and spend a hell of a lot of money. You buy some vegan cookies, they're going to be way more
Mhm.
than normal cookies sometimes. So like you do have to consider that.
And that's all part of demand. It's supply and demand. You have a supply
Hmm.
with a if you have a low demand and you have a what's it supply if you have a low demand but a high supply, it's gonna be cheaper. If you have a higher
Hmm.
demand, a higher supply. So I'm not gonna get into economics,
Yeah.
but it's supply and demand. It's a product, but there's not a high demand for it because we're still generally a lower percentage of the population. So
Right.
it's a specialty item. Any diet can be cheap or expensive.
Hmm.
You can have a plant based diet. It's like dirt cheap. You can get $5 a week. You can eat.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You can
You
have an
follow
animal.
a whole plant-based diet, it could be super cheap. Some rice, some veggies, some tofu. That's easy. Tofu's cheap.
Oh yeah,
Like you can get all of that in bulk for cheap, cheap, cheap. Frozen veggies and fruit, you're good.
right. You can
But you start adding in some other stuff,
get a little
impossible meat.
some gardein in that mess.
Yeah.
You get a little crazy. It's
Yes.
I have when I was when I got laid off years ago when the economy crashed. I ate vegan not even on purpose because it was a cheaper option because I could just make a pot of rice and beans and frozen veggies and some spices and I have lunch and dinner for a week.
Right.
Um, but then when I got a little more money, I'm like, let's get crazy. We're gonna get veggie burgers and and all this processed and cheeses and stuff. And it gets up there.
Hmm.
You can have an animal based diet and eat super cheap. You can mac and cheese. You
Yeah.
get boxes of mac and cheese
Super
and
cheap.
chicken ramen and all that stuff and eat for dirt cheap.
Hmm.
Um, and you can also get like the highest quote quality of of dead cow and and things like that and these like nice cheeses and all this stuff and then go like spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Same you can do vegan too. I can get really cool nice like vegan meats and vegan cheeses and stack up on yokos and all this like really good like Italian vegan sausages and have a
Yep.
good old time. Stomach ache because I ate way too much stuff I don't normally eat. But so yeah, it's always touted as like, oh, veganism is so expensive. That's my favorite thing. People go, veganism is just so expensive. So first off, yes and no. What are you buying? You buy fruits
Exactly.
and vegetables and rice and stuff like that. No, it's not. If you buy a lot of crazy stuff, it can be. And and that's they say it's too expensive. It depends on what you buy. You can have a plant-based diet that's super inexpensive by eating whole food, plant-based, and reducing your processed food consumption. You can have an animal-based diet that is extremely expensive because you're buying these expensive things, or you can have a cheap animal-based diet because you're buying mac and cheese and ramen. So
Right.
it depends on what you're doing. So it's like I have a balance. My grocery bill just for me a week is about $60, I think, give or take.
Nice.
Some people that's high, some people that's low. I eat mostly high. I eat mostly whole food, plant based with a couple things sprinkled in. But I would probably, my diet's mostly like 90-95% whole food. I would think. But yeah, it just depends. And to say it's cheap to be vegan is wrong. To say it's expensive is wrong too. So
It
it's
all
just
just
it
depends.
just
Yeah.
depends on what you want and how you make things and how you adjust. But just settle in both either narrative is incorrect.
Also, same it goes for if you're eating out with vegan food too. Like you can get cheap vegan food on takeout. You can get expensive vegan food at a restaurant. Like there are options in every area,
You could roll down Taco Bell and get a bean burrito with no cheese,
Exactly.
straight up, and
Exactly.
it's just beans,
Hmm.
fried beans and onions, and a wrap, which is you can do that.
Yep.
So you can get cheap vegan takeout food. There's been more than once I've gone to Subway and I was like, I want like the whole wheat bread. I think it was, or it's one of them. It's
Hmm.
like whole wheat that has no honey in it. It's
Yep.
labeled vegan, and then I want every vegetable you have.
They
And
look at you crazy,
they're
man.
like,
I love it. It's
"You
so
want the
funny.
cheese?"
And they're like, "What kind of cheese?" I'm like, "No
No
cheese.
cheese.
No cheese."
Every single vegetable, every
It's
spinach,
fine.
lettuce, bell pepper, onion.
I'm
But
like,
you
just
got
go for
go
it.
for it. Yeah. And I think
love it.
there's actually a name for it. It's like a veggie special or something now. They actually have a name for it
Yeah,
now.
I just get a veggie is what I say. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's one of my. I want to film them one day because seriously, I've never gone and not
Confuses
had
them so
someone
much.
go, "What?"
Like with the chicken? No, with the cheese? Nope. Okay. I only do an accent with that because like the only couple times I've done it, it was always like the same ethnicity that was doing. I can't remember what it was.
Yes.
It was like you want the cheese? It was just and
Nope.
they said the exact same thing, the exact same accent. And I loved it. It almost seemed cute.
Yes,
You want that cheese?
yes. And you're just like, nope.
They were
Sorry. Almost
just-
like I feel just like I'm sad to disappoint people where I'm just like, no, I don't want your cheese. I'm sorry.
okay. And they're like, okay, you know. But yeah, it's just, that's what I
Sorry.
do. But it could be super cheap, and that's like that sandwich was like $2. It was nothing.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, but I can also go to like a couple places in Atlanta and just like throw down.
Oh yeah.
And my card comes back with like steam coming off of it. You know, it's
Mhm.
just hot.
Oh my gosh.
But,
yeah. So it
yeah.
is all what you make it.
Absolutely. And the one that I'm adding on, which isn't a big one, but it's something that people need to understand, and that's coconut oil. Coconut oil is crap. Stop eating it.
Stop slathering it on your face.
It's
Clogs your pores so hardcore. What are you doing?
marketing is a motherfucker.
Shh. That's what I do for a living.
And no, and if you're good at it, people will buy coconut oil and eat it and put it in their face.
Oh God.
And I'm sure it has. I mean, I don't have hair, but I'm sure it's good. Maybe putting in hair, making hair all nice and nice. And, I don't know. I don't know what it's good for. I have it at home, and I quit using it because I'm like, because here's the thing. One good thing about vegan diet is it greatly reduces your saturated fats. Saturated fat is going to raise your bad cholesterol. That's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 plant-based oils that you can consume which will raise your bad cholesterol through saturated fat: palm oil and coconut oil. And vegans gotten this massive craze of using
Yep.
coconut oil in everything, cooking with it, putting it in their salad dressings, all this
Putting
stuff.
it in their coffee.
Putting it in everything.
Ew.
What are you doing? Stop consuming coconut oil. It's not, and then like I'm gonna get some sort. I'm gonna get sued and sanctioned or something. For
Whatever.
talking crap. But coconut oil, oil in general is not a health food. I'm not anti-oil. I will use a little bit of oil in like I use canola oil if I'm gonna cook with it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very little, just enough to like if I'm making like fries in the air fryer, I'll put like literally like half a teaspoon, bloop, just enough to coat. So they come out a little crispy, a little delicious, a little tasty.
crispy?
Because fat is delicious. Of course it is. It's fat. Fat is delicious. Oh my God. It's also like 4 or 6 grams, 4 or 6 calories like per like gram or something. It's like really high in calorie. Crazy high.
Jeez.
It's not a health food. It's
No.
It's got very little nutrition other than just added fats. But if you can use
just
oil,
got so popular.
it did. If you're
People
gonna-
like lost their shit.
Right, and there's oils that are better, like rapeseed and grapeseed oil are really good for cooking. Canola is good for cooking. If you want to just have like a raw oil, olive oil is great. It's got a very low flash point, so it tends to burn, which can cause other like free radicals and cancerous issues in the body. Coconut oil is crap. It's high saturated fat. You do not need it. It is all marketing. Whoever marketed that, good job. You win. You got us.
Yeah.
You
For a little bit, you were selling out.
Yeah, you're hitting it. But yeah, I don't use it. I use canola oil. I use canola oil if I want to cook with it. If I want something just like if I want to put like some oil on like a salad thing or something, I use olive oil. That's it. That's all I use. Coconut oil is gone. Stop using it. It's crap. It's a crap oil. Don't do it anymore.
I love it's the one we're
Bang.
ending on.
It drives me nuts because people are like, coconut oil is so good for you. There was someone in a vegan group who was like, I went to a doctor. Doctor said my cholesterol was high, blah, 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 blah. And he's been vegan very long. And people are like, oh, you should do this, this, and this, and this. And like, what are you eating?
Yeah, right?
Because high cholesterol, humans as mammals, we make our own cholesterol. You do not, and I know I'm so over time, but I don't care. This is another thing. It kind of goes along with it. You don't need dietary cholesterol. It's crap. You don't need it. Unless you have some weird hormonal issue where you have to, your body doesn't make enough cholesterol, you don't need cholesterol. Cholesterol is used to basically make cells in your body and things like that. But we make our own. You don't need dietary cholesterol. Stop doing it. You don't. So if your cholesterol is high, you're eating on a vegan diet. You're eating something that has saturated fats and high saturated fat that's causing you elevated bad cholesterol, which is likely you're consuming something with a lot of palm oil, which usually means you're eating a lot of processed crap because palm oil tends to be in a lot of processed crap. Even if it's like ethically grown and sourced, it's still bad.
I was just gonna say that, yeah.
Right. It's still, and we can argue about palm oil all day long, but if it's ethically sourced, palm oil elevate your saturated fat, elevated bad cholesterol. Coconut oil has saturated fat, it'll elevate your bad cholesterol. If you have high bad cholesterol as a vegan, you're probably eating processed crap with coconut oil and or palm oil in it.
And David's mad about it.
Stop. It's just like it's like, oh, coconut oil is good for you because it's no, it's because it's from a plant doesn't mean it's good for you.
Ooh, there's an unpopular opinion.
It's because it's a plant. It's good for you. All right. Cocaine comes from a plant. So does opium. Doesn't mean you should be throwing down on either one of them.
Marijuana comes from a plant. It's pretty spectacular.
I wouldn't know from experience, but I hear it's pretty good.
It's pretty great.
But anyway, that's an hour and a half.
That was a long list of
David ranting.
Unpopular opinions. No, that was a fun one. I liked this. Was a good episode. I enjoyed this.
We're gonna get hate mail.
Oh, I'm fine. It's fine.
I don't care. I like it. It's fun. I'll laugh at you.
You can email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com and bring it. Let us know how wrong you think we are.
I'll post it. I don't care. Bring it on. I'll read it on the air. If you email me hate mail, I will have a hate mail episode and I'll respond to you live.
There you go. Let's do it. Oh my God. Listen, we do want to hear your unpopular opinions. We do want to hear what you think of ours, of course. And like I said, you can email us at theaveragevegans@gmail.com. You can also message us or comment on Instagram or Facebook at The Average Vegans. And to listen to this podcast and any other episode, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, or anywhere else you get your podcast fix. Make sure to leave us a review, pretty please. And recommend us to all of your friends, your family, your coworkers, strangers, the lady who gives you your vaccine shot, anybody and everybody. Just spread the word about The Average Vegans. And again, we want to hear your unpopular opinions. We want to hear what you think about ours. So send us a message, give us some suggestions for upcoming episodes and all that fun stuff. And that is it for the week.
All right. Well, until next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.